Once upon a time, in a quiet sun-dappled village nestled between tall green hills and a sparkling stream, lived two sisters named Mangita and Lina. They shared a humble little cottage at the edge of the forest with their father, a kind fruit seller known for his honesty and laughter. Mangita, the older of the two, had gentle eyes and a quiet strength. She was hardworking and thoughtful, always ready to lend a hand or share a kind word. Lina, the younger sister, was cheerful and curious, but she often let her desire for fun outweigh her sense of responsibility. Every morning, Mangita would rise with the sun, sweep the house, water the garden, and prepare breakfast before heading off to help her father at the fruit stall. Meanwhile, Lina would sleep in, wander to the river, and brush her long hair while admiring her reflection in the water. I'm even more beautiful than my sister, Lina would whisper with a satisfied grin. But Mangita never complained. She simply smiled and continued her work, humming as she cleaned and cooked, grateful for the simple joys of life. Then one day, everything changed. Their father packed a small bag and hugged them tightly. "My dear daughters," he said, "I must go on a long journey, one that may not bring me back." Mangita's eyes welled with tears, but she nodded bravely. Lina, on the other hand, barely looked up from her mirror. "So now the house is mine at night," she murmured, twirling her hair. After their father's departure, Mangita took on all the responsibilities. From dawn until dusk, she cooked, cleaned, tended the garden, and kept the home in order. But Lina only grew lazier. She would spill water on the floor, leave food out for animals that trapped dirt inside, and even poured cold water into the soup pot for fun. "Why is the soup cold again?" Mangita asked one evening. "Maybe the birds you feed made it cold," Lina replied with a shrug. Despite the hardship, Mangita stayed kind. She continued her chores with patience, never raising her voice, even when Lina's pranks grew cruel. One warm afternoon, Lina wandered deep into the forest. She sang to herself as she picked wild strawberries, tiny, sour, and unripe. Without a care, she tossed them into the river just to watch them float away. Just then, an old woman appeared along the path. She was bent with age, wearing a cloak made of faded leaves. "Dear child," the woman said softly, "I haven't eaten in days. May I have some fruit?" Lina rolled her eyes, but handed over the handful of sour berries. "These are the best strawberries in the world, Auntie. Eat all you want." The old woman smiled faintly and ate, but soon her face twisted in pain. "Oh, my stomach. Dear me." Still, she bowed her head in thanks. Lina giggled and walked away, muttering, "She believed me, how funny." Later that day, Mangita went into the forest to gather herbs. She spotted the same old woman collapsed near a tree, her face pale and eyes closed. "Oh no!" Mangita gasped. She knelt beside her, helped her up, and brought her home. You need warmth and food, she said gently. But when Lina saw the old woman resting in their bed, she scowled. She smells awful. Why is she here? She's very ill, Lina. We must help her. Mangita made hot soup, wrapped the woman in blankets, and brewed herbal teas. But while Mangita stepped outside to gather fresh mint, Lina crept in and poured dirt into the tea. That'll teach her to stink up our house, she whispered with a grin. But day by day the old woman grew stronger, thanks to Mangita's kindness. Before she left, she pulled a small pouch from her cloak. Take these, she said, blueberries from the forest's heart. If you ever fall sick, eat one each day. Mangita thanked her and placed the pouch in a special drawer. Days turned into weeks. Mangita, worn out from doing everything alone, began to weaken. Her cheeks grew pale, her hands shook, and soon she could not get out of bed. Lina, she whispered, please, the blueberries. But Lina had eaten them already, every last one. There's nothing left, she lied. Maybe. Birds got to them. Mangita closed her eyes, burning with fever, drifting into restless sleep. That evening, Lina went to the river again, brushing her hair and gazing at her reflection. Suddenly the old woman appeared beside her. Where is your sister? She asked. She went to work. What's it to you? Lina snapped. The old woman's eyes grew sharp. She turned and walked toward the cottage. When she saw Mangita sweating and unconscious, she wept. From the window, Lina laughed. In that moment, the old woman shimmered with light and transformed into a glowing fairy. Lina gasped. You're a fairy. You owe me. Make my hair the most beautiful in the world. I came to test your heart, the fairy replied. You failed again and again. With a wave of her wand, Lina's hair turned into thick, tangled ivy. It slithered down her back and rooted into the earth. Ah, what's happening to me? She ran to the river, but her reflection was hideous. Flies buzzed around her head. She cried out, ashamed. Back at the cottage, the fairy placed a single glowing blueberry on Mangita's tongue. Soft light wrapped around her. Slowly, Mangita opened her eyes and smiled. Thank you, fairy. I feel better. With another wave, the fairy turned the cottage into a shimmering palace. Mangita gasped. This is all for you, said the fairy. Kindness always returns. But Mangita shook her head. This is too much. I miss my sister. I miss our simple home. Please, bring back our old cottage. That's my only wish. The fairy smiled with tears in her eyes. She restored the cottage and walked to Lina. With a final swirl of magic, the ivy hair melted away, replaced with soft flowing locks. Once again, Dot. Lina ran to her sister and threw her arms around her. You saved me after everything, she sobbed. I'm sorry, I want to change, I will. From that day on, Lina did change. She helped with chores, worked in the garden, and never again looked down on others. The sisters spent their days together laughing, cooking, and sharing stories by the fire. And every night when stars twinkled above their little cottage, they would whisper the lesson they had learned. Kindness is the greatest kind of magic. Moral of the story: kindness never goes unnoticed, and true happiness becomes more beautiful when it is shared.